We
Hi.
are.
We are
Okay.
live.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, you're right.
Well, everybody, thank you for your patience this morning. I'd like to thank Carol Ann for her patience, and I'd like to thank Annette Joy Lily and wonderful Archangel Michael, who has brought us live finally. So thank you to all. How wonderful. What a great way to start the show, Carol Ann, because it's called Corona Gifts. Well, I reckon I've been given a huge gift this morning.
Yes.
Learning and remembering to call on earth angels and our angels and gorgeous archangels out there in the ethers.
And that's a wonderful thing to remember. We have such support. We have such an amazing team, not only, as you say, with our earth angels, but with our spiritual team. The archangels and the angels are always there to support us, but we just need to remember to ask them sometimes, because sometimes we get into a bit of a situation and we don't think to ask. And all we need to do is ask, and it just makes such a difference to everything in life, not just trying to get on air this morning.
Oh dear, yes. And isn't that such an opportunity for me to say, well, thank you. So gratitude, isn't that such a wonderful, I find that's a key to life. You know, if I find that things that seem a bit tough, it's like, okay, come back to the gratitude for the basics.
Yes. You know, there's a saying, the attitude of gratitude, and it's so true, because when we get into that energy and that place of gratitude, we receive so much more in return, and what we put out there is multiplied when it comes back to us. So, you know, the attitude of gratitude is a really nice place for us all to be.
And especially at the moment, because I'm sure, you know, there is a lot of concern, there's a lot of angst and uncertainty, not only in our own homes, but worldwide. And it's an opportunity for us to look at, okay, what are we grateful for? In this case, you know, what are we missing as well, to realise that things that I've taken for granted all of a sudden aren't there. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's about having a completely different way of thinking about life, in lots of ways. And I think, you know, if we can express our gratitude that we have a home to stay in, you know, when we're told to stay at home, we have a home, stay safe. We are safe within our home because we're blessed to be living in this beautiful country of Australia. And I think another thing is that it gives us an opportunity to look after ourselves, because when we're out in our busy lives, busy, we're busy doing things a lot of the time for other people or to be with other people. So this is a wonderful opportunity for us to nurture ourselves and to go within more often. And then it sort of expands our awareness of all that is around us, because I look at all that is around me in different ways now to what I did before. You know, it might have just been, I think about the garden, I've got to rush down the road and get this for the garden or something. But now I can go out in the garden and get Barry to dig me a hole, and then I can play and do all of these things and then appreciate what I've done, and not only appreciate and say thank you and express my gratitude for the opportunity to do that, but it's helped me to ground myself as well into Mother Earth. And I'm finding that I'm doing so much more grounding into Mother Earth. And the other thing that I'm doing more of is something that I kept telling myself for months and months and months to do. Carol, get out there and walk every day. Well, this is giving me the opportunity to go for a walk every day. We're allowed to go out for a walk as long as we keep social distance. And because I live in an acreage area, there's lots of long walks I can do, and it's interesting the number of people who are out walking each day, and when you just sort of smile and say hello to them, it's really helps them, and it helps us in many ways, you know, express our gratitude for to be able to do that.
That's right. How fortunate are we to be able to walk? I know my gorgeous 90-year-old mother who's in a retirement village. She walks. Now, she has a walker. The walker gives her the safety, the security that she's not going to trip. And it means that if she does meet someone and they're staying socially distanced apart, she can sit and have a chat in the open air. So no matter how we get around, to be grateful for our own abilities. And for those of us who haven't been in the habit of walking, you know, to see that over time we can walk further and further. We can walk quicker and quicker if that's what we choose to do. Of course, being able to walk and take in our surroundings. I'm one Carol Ann who, you know, oh, well, got to get there fast, rather than maybe sometimes ambling and taking in the birds in the trees, the sounds that I hear, etc.
Yeah. And I find this when I walk because my husband likes to walk quite fast, and so he walks on ahead of me and then I catch him up. But I said to him one day, when I walk, and we find this when we go on holidays as well, I observe a lot of things. As you say, you look at the birds, you look at the plants, you look at all of these. And so for me, that makes that walking enjoyable, and it doesn't make it as much of a burden. But I know then that I am getting my exercise because, you know, dancing has come to a stop because we can't be in that close standstill. But there's so many opportunities we have. And I'm so grateful to Zoom and Skype and FaceTime and our phones. You know, we have so many opportunities. My grandchildren and my daughter and husband, they did a Zoom the other day, and it was wonderful because we could bring Brian's mum in as well, and all six of us were all on our own devices. And we just had the most amazing hour and a half and of fun and laughter. And I think, you know, I was so grateful for that. And I had to laugh because my 11-year-old granddaughter was the host, and she kept threatening her brother that if he didn't behave himself, she'd shut him and put him in the waiting room, and then he wouldn't be able to participate. And you know, it was so good to have that laugh and that fun and that connection. So we're so blessed, and I'm so grateful for the many opportunities we have now to make that contact. Sure, we can't give them the physical hug. And on Facebook at the moment, there's so many virtual hugs going around all the time. But, you know, I'm really looking forward to the day that I can hug them. But until that day comes, you know, I'm more than prepared to stay at home. I might go out to buy a bottle of milk, or today I've got to pop down to the chemist, but I'll just whiz in there and whiz straight home again and clean everything down and just take a few precautions because, you know, there's an old saying, better be safe than sorry. And you know, I sort of believe in that as well.
Right, yes. I think personal safety, personal hygiene. No, we're getting back to basics, aren't we? That's what we're...
Who would have thought, you know, that one of the things we'd be told, stay home, stay safe, wash your hands. That should be taken for granted, that you give your hands a wash and things like that. But, you know, it's really interesting. And as you say, it's going back to basics. And I think sometimes those little basics are just such a wonderful thing. And we're so blessed to be able to do all of these things. And this morning, because one of the people I am friends with is get notification. It's the Queensland Police Service, and they put a little cute poem on this morning. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, no need to wonder where you are. You're staying home, the door's locked tight. You're saving lives, however you might. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, thank you for staying where you are. And I
Oh,
just thought that was lovely. I really
yeah.
did. And, you know, to just little things like that, we're just so grateful to be able to receive those little gentle reminders, which, you know, I sort of, oh, that was really lovely. So,
Yes, there are so many blessings. The fact that we have extra time at home. So I've found that I've done a couple of hobbies that had been shelved because I didn't have the time. And it's wonderful to
it
think,
is.
oh, yes, I can spend some time here
Mhm.
doing this. I know lots of people have been clearing out cupboards and going through drawers and feeling very grateful for having the time to do
Yeah.
things. You know, it's easy to shove things away, isn't it, in cupboards and drawers? How often do we look to see what happens to have been built up there?
Yes, and it's really interesting to say you're saying about cleaning cupboards. The other day, I looked in part of my pantry and I thought, oh, Carol, you must get in and do this. This is an excellent time to do it. So, you know, you always make more of a mess when you're cleaning and doing those things. And I cleaned one half of my pantry and I stood back and looked at it and I said, now you know somebody loves your pantry and thank you
Oh,
for it. No, and it was really, it was just, I could almost feel the pantry saying to me, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because
right.
I thought, now that didn't take me long, but it was something I don't think that I give myself time to do otherwise. And of course, we've
Mm.
bought a few extra things at the moment. So you just need to reorganize things and stuff like that. So we do have more time, but that doesn't mean that we can't, if we feel like it, just sit down and binge on some Netflix, because I've done that a bit too in these past 3-4 weeks.
Right. Well, again, whatever gives us joy. I think that's the important thing. Because yes, there are always tasks.
Mm.
As some people say, you know, with housework, ladies I know will put on music and then be quite happy to get into the housework. It's wonderful to think, well, I do have a little bit of extra time. How am I going to spend it? What is it that I'd like to do today,
Mm.
rather than rushing here and rushing there?
Yeah, and another thing that I found that because I'm one of these people who I might, oh, what are we going to have for dinner today, sort of thing, and okay, and if I haven't got it, you know, I just pop down the road because it's not far to go and
Mm,
get whatever I need. But now it's like, okay, so you need to have a bit more planning here, Carol. So, you know, these are the meals for the next few days or the next week. This is what I need to buy when I go to the shop, which I've only gone to the shops once a week, and
mhm.
not for very long because I actually have my list. You know, we were talking about lists last time, and I was saying I'm not
Right.
really a list person, so I have my list to go shopping, and so that's sort of made a big difference to me. And of course, because Barry cooks as well, and so we're alternating cooking days almost. So you know, it's really been interesting to look at something different like that, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have looked at something a bit differently, because sometimes we get into patterns or habits or whatever we want to call it, and we don't necessarily think about doing it another way. Well, this is giving us opportunities to think about doing things a different way.
Yes. Now, one of the things that I'm aware of, I live alone and I have all of this time on my own, which I'm thoroughly enjoying. For some people, that's a real test. And for some families, Carol Ann, having more people in the home all the time is a very, very big test. And it's a case again of, okay, looking at, well, aren't we grateful that, yes, we have family? Aren't we grateful? We are grateful to have this time to get to know each other, like parents having homeschooling their children. Need to have a look at what they're doing. So they're being shown a little more of what children do at school.
Yes, definitely. that just reminds me of something, we've got grandchildren now, so this was a long time ago. My daughter was studying for an exam and I took her up some brain food and I came downstairs and I said to Barry, oh my God, whatever that problem is that Lisa is doing at the moment. I said, I would have no idea what that is. I didn't do maths like that when I went to school. So Barry, being Barry, went upstairs and came back down. He said, she's not even doing maths, she's doing chemistry. So I said, well, I never did chemistry, so I don't know what chemistry is. But, you're right. It's going to give people an opportunity to see a little bit, because kids nowadays, they get the same answer that we used to get, but they get it a completely different way. And, this is where I think, parents need to be flexible and understand that the kids have to do it the way that they're taught at school. But I think that the education department is going to really step up with the way they're putting out the online lessons, because I spoke to my grandchildren the other day and I said, well, is everything ready for you to do online learning? And they said, yes, our schools have been set up for it for a while. And they're state schools, they're not private schools. Right. So I think, that parents who are concerned about it, maybe, all they need to do is just keep an eye on the kids. They don't have to teach the kids. They just have to keep an eye on them. And this is what they're saying. 'Cause I worked for the education department for many years, but that was in an admin stream. But, it's just about just supervising them, giving the kids a schedule, like as they're saying, make sure they have a little lunch break, make sure they have their lunch break, and then have some time to go outside, but try and get each day's planning done, because I don't believe they're going to give them a whole 5 or 6 hours of schooling every day. So the kids are going to be able to go at their own pace. I may be wrong, but I think that's what they'll be doing. So I know that I've got some friends who are still working in education, and they said, oh, if you could see everything that's going on here. And I thought, oh, well, I'm glad I'm not there now.
Well, I know a girlfriend of mine who is still in the system said, oh, Annette, you're so lucky that you're no longer in it. And I think, it's been a big learning curve for a lot of teachers, as well as to get their head around what they have to do to provide these lessons for their students. So, and it would seem down here that different schools might be doing it differently as well.
Yeah. I think this is it. Each state is looking after their own education. And I know, I can remember, gosh, it was a long while ago, and when I was working, and we actually had set up then distance education, and that was part of the department I was working in. And we all went down to watch the first link that they had up with a school in Japan. And it was fascinating to see the two schools there, the two screens working together on a situation. One was in Japan and one was in Australia. So I've never worried about the fact of distance education. And in fact, one of my nephews, he teaches via distance education up in North Queensland. So I think that they understand a lot more of distance education, perhaps, than some people are giving them credit for. Well, I hope so anyway.
Right. So, well, I look back into the 90s when I was team teaching with a younger woman, and she was sending emails to a school in the US, and it was a foreign language to me. And now, and another girlfriend, Carol Ann, would say, oh, she checked her emails over breakfast of a morning. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what are these emails? Now, my goodness.
This is it. How grateful are you for where you are now compared to them? How grateful am I? As I've said before, when Annette asked me if I would come on to Angel Heart Radio, that was when it was on Blog Talk Radio, was like, oh my goodness, can I do this? And I just absolutely love it, because I think when we step out of this where we think we are in life, and it's like stepping out into this void, And it just goes to show, yeah, you can do anything if you try. And this is it. You've just got to try. So, oh no. So I don't think I'm going to climb mountains, but, that's a little bit different.
Well, I think this situation with the virus has given people a lot of opportunity. There are so many classes online, so
Yes.
that's beautiful. I'm very grateful for the opportunities. And I know a girlfriend of mine, she's really upped the ante. She's a very, very talented musician and conductor herself, and however, she is now preparing Zoom classes, and I've watched someone else give a Zoom concert, and I admire them both so much, because here they are in a room looking at a screen, pretending that they can see the people, visualizing the people who they're teaching, and they can hear their own voice. They cannot hear our voices, and yet they're responding as though they can. Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And that's an opportunity to extend skills that wasn't there before the virus.
No, exactly. And getting back to my granddaughter, she does ballet. The Australian Ballet are putting their ballets online. And a few days ago, they had Swan Lake. So Kaylin went and got herself dressed up in all her best dress and everything, and just made it like she was going to the theatre. And I thought, oh, that was gorgeous. And Andrew Lloyd Webber is putting all his musicals online for people to watch. They go up for 48 hours, and then they'll put another one up. And so, we can do things ourselves. My great nephew, he goes to BBC, so they do bagpipes. So he got online and he did a tune on his bagpipes the other day online, and I thought, how gorgeous is this? And it's just showing us, that our world really is limitless. We're only limited by our imagination. And I think when we can step out into that place of learning and doing all of those things, then it's just awesome. We're really blessed, really blessed. I'm so grateful for all that we can share, that we can do, we can watch, we can read, and all of those things. So, yeah.
Yes. And I think it's time to think about how are we feeling, to get in touch with ourselves, and to acknowledge if we are feeling a little down, a little frustrated, whatever it might be, but then realize that there are these wonderful gifts that we can use. A lot of people do have Netflix. A lot of people have the internet, so they can get onto such things as A Beautiful Ballet or Andrew Lloyd Webber's wonderful musicals. Explore, have a look at what's out there. It's amazing. Maybe you've always wanted to do yoga. There are free yoga sessions online. Maybe you want to sing. I know there are people out there doing virtual piano lessons.
Yes, definitely. And the other thing too is be kind to yourself. We're all in a situation we've never been in before. And so, you can have your down days. You're not going to have all up days. You're going to have down days. And so if you're just having a bit of a downtime, be gentle with yourself and just think, okay, this is okay. This is a whole new situation. And it's not just affecting me, it's affecting the whole world. And so then just, take a few deep breaths. If you can, sit out on your patio with a cuppa and just gently breathe and think about all you're grateful for, and know that, this is not going to be going on forever. We are going to come through this. And when we come through this, I truly believe we're going to be very different, because a lot of the things that we thought we needed, that we had to have, I think we're going to realise we don't really need that. Life doesn't have to be this continuous battle and having to be the best and all of that. I think that we are going to come through this and be a lot kinder to one another, a lot more gentle. And, you know, I think it's just, we're going to look back on this in years to come as an interesting experience. And that's what I said to my grandchildren, you know, write all of this down, because you're a part of history here. What is happening now is going to, children in years to come are going to study this in history. And so you need to you know, take a few notes of things. I know that, you know, when Apollo 11 happened and they weren't sure about getting the astronauts back to Earth and around the other side of the moon and all of these things. And you know, I see that now on television, and people will say, gosh, I didn't know that had happened. But I lived through that. We lived through that. You know, there's so many things when we look back at what we have come through, what we have lived through. And, you know, it's just, we're just in an exciting place. And the other thing I think that I like to remember is that I'm exactly where I'm meant to be at this time. This is why I came back in this lifetime. I don't understand exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, but I know I'm where I'm meant to be at this time. So make the most of it. You know, have your up days and your down days, but just be gentle with yourself. Be kind to yourself. Remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were in this state on the phone, and I said, stop, just breathe. Oh, I wasn't really doing that properly. Well, just take a few deep breaths and then see how you feel then. So, you know, it's really awesome, actually.
It is, isn't it?
I'm having a good day.
Well, I read last night on Facebook, somebody was writing, I think their grandchild, that they were looking down in years to come. And the grandchild said, oh, we're learning about this time in history when people couldn't go out and they couldn't travel, lots of things that we couldn't do. And this fellow said, well, I was a child then, and I remember playing with my parents, being able to be in the backyard and digging in the dirt, playing board games. And these are things that sometimes we just don't have, we don't make time for it. You know, it's so easy to be doing other things. And so it is a time that, yes, we are making history. And how is it that we're making it? What is it that we'd like to do? We do have an opportunity. So rather than thinking, oh my goodness, we might have weeks, we might have months, bring it back to the day. Well, I've got this day. What is it that I'd like to do?
Yes.
And how can I serve others? How can I make a difference for other people? Carol, the simple smiles or the hellos when we're passing people, when we're out on our walks.
Yes. Yes, it's all of those simple things. And that's like, I was delighted when I saw that at Easter time, a lot of people took the kids and they camped out in their backyard. And so they went camping at Easter time. They couldn't go away to where they wanted to go, but they could still camp at Easter time. And a lot of people, because I live on acreage, so I don't have a next door neighbour that his driveway is right near mine. But a lot of people are going out and having their 5 o'clock or afternoon drinkies, and they take their chair and their wine out and sit in their driveway, and their neighbours take their wine and chairs out and sit in their driveway. They're socially distant, but they can talk to one another. They can have a drink or a cup of tea. And so there's many ways around what's happening in life, as well as just enjoying the peace and the quiet and the solitude. Because a lot of people, as you say, don't like being on their own or don't like being able to get out and about. Another friend of mine, she said her husband, he's suffering from cabin fever. So he'll take the car out and drive around the block, and that'll make him happy just to drive around the block. But, you know, there's all sorts of little things that we can do. And I know that on Anzac Day, they're suggesting that at 6 a.m. everybody go down to their front gate and light a candle. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. So,
Yes.
there are, all we need to do is think outside the square, think laterally, and
Mhm.
be amazed at what can be done.
Yes. Yeah. And that's fun.
Mm.
What can we do? I know I've been writing to my grandchildren, sending them mail. Sometimes it goes through Australia Post, sometimes it goes through their dad if he calls in, etc. Uh, and giving them little activities. I'm carrot juicing a lot at the moment. There are lots of carrot tops. And I don't know whether you remember, Carol Ann, but I can remember at school putting carrot tops onto wet cotton wool and seeing what happens. So I'd sent some, and with instructions and containers that they could use, etc.
Mhm.
Creative, what can we do? Maybe we've got elderly neighbours who we can call on. And I know some people are using this time to contact people they haven't spoken to for a long time. So there's lots of reconnections happening.
There is, and that's I've been contacting people that I haven't spoken to for a while, and it's just been lovely to just make that contact again, and just to be in one another's lives, even if it's only for a 10 or 15-minute phone call. But it's just to let people know that you care, and that you're wondering how they're going and how they're managing, because that, I believe, is part of our role, to be here to support one another. And if we can support them in that way, then that's really a great way to do it. So yeah, it's just limitless, really, if we stop and think about it. And it's a good time to learn something new. And as you say, there's so many courses online, there's so many wonderful books you can read, so many things that you can do. So yeah, I've got a few plans that I'm going to do, but I'm not going to tell you what they are, because somebody might hear what I'm going to do, and then it'll get back to my daughter, and I don't want that to happen.
Creating surprises.
I've got a plan for Mother's Day, you see. So
Very nice.
but I've got a plan of something I want to have ready for her for Mother's Day. I don't give her a gift for Mother's Day, but I think that this is something for the family. This is something for us all. So that's what I'm going to be working on next.
Lovely. Yes. Well, I believe the world is our oyster, so that saying goes. What is it that you can do? What is it that you want to do? And sometimes, Carol Ann, those can be two different things.
Yes, definitely. Definitely, because, the can and the want don't always meet in the middle. And so then if the can and the want don't meet one another, then you sort of look at a way to get around it, like, yeah, I can do this, but do I really want to do it? And then you sort of can try to bring the two of them together, or else you just go and do something different. Don't beat yourself up if you find that, you don't, well, I can do that, but I don't want to. But don't beat yourself up about it. This is the time for us to be sharing the love and the kindness. Kindness, I believe, is something that has been lacking a little bit up until recently, because people have been so busy. They sort of like, yes, they're thinking it, but they don't necessarily show the kindness that they're thinking, because it's a rush world. And I think this is an amazing opportunity that everything has slowed down to a degree, and we can go within and look at different ways to get about it. I have a friend who lives interstate, and she goes and she does like little university degrees. So that it might take so many months. And, her husband says, well, I don't need to get a dictionary anymore. He said, I've got one that I'm living with. She knows everything. And I'm sure he means it in a loving way. And yes, he does. But, we're just limited by our imagination, as I said before. We can do so much more. Want to learn about angels? There's beautiful books about learning about angels. Learn if you want to learn how to use angel cards and all those things. So, if you want to step outside the normal everyday square of reading a novel or something like that, there's so many other things that you can do.
Yes. So explore. What is it that you'd really like to do? Maybe there's something that you've had deep down. You really want. I know I'm doing a course with Inner Segal because it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and now I have the opportunity. Inner's providing this bundle, and I have the time, and it's like, yes, fantastic. So what is it that you would like to do? Please see this time as an opportunity. I think that's been our message this morning, Carol Ann.
Yeah, it is. See it as an opportunity. See the silver lining in it all. And I think that just not to limit yourself and to be gentle with yourself. That to me is a major thing, to be gentle with yourself, because, people, we used to get into such a tiz or a state when we had so much to do. And now, we're in the opposite. And then you think, well, what am I going to do? There's plenty to do. Just decide what you want to do. And if you don't want to do anything, you just want to watch Netflix or go on Fox, although there's not much sport on Fox. We don't have Fox, so that doesn't really worry me. But, there's so much you can do. So don't beat yourself up about it. Be kind to yourself. Love yourself.
Absolutely.
Go inside. And if you're feeling a bit down, make a cuppa, sit on the patio or somewhere out in the yard or out on the lawn, get contact with Mother Earth, connect with Mother Earth, and just listen to the birds, listen to nature. The birds are beautiful. I love to lie in bed in the morning as the magpies in the world are just waking up.
Mm.
Magpies, they have a beautiful song when they sing. So, realise just what you have around you. Even if you only have a little yard, a little backyard, you can still sit out there and feel the sun shining down and warming your body and helping you to get through the day. There's so much to be grateful for.
Yes. Yes, the gratitude list is so important. Start the day with maybe 5 things that you're grateful for. The fact that we've woken up, the fact that we're in a lovely, comfy bed.
Yeah.
The simple things, the things that we do take for granted.
Yeah, yep, we do. This is a golden opportunity to recognise the things that we take for granted, including our family and friends sometimes.
Yes, yes. And the fact that we are able to reach out to our family in different ways to what we're used to. However, those first hugs, how fantastic are they going to be?
Oh, definitely. I think, we're just all excitedly waiting for that, and it'll be just wonderful. We'll be able to have a big celebration, and who would have thought we would be celebrating the fact that on this particular day, whenever it may be, we can go and visit one another. We can hug. We don't have to stay socially distant. But that's going to come about because we are doing what we've been asked to do, to stay home, to stay safe, to wash our hands, and all of these things, because you just never know, do you? So why take the risk? Why worry? Why think that you may have infected somebody else, or they may have infected you? So let's not even get that thought in our heads. Just stay home, stay safe, wash your hands. The one I had the biggest trouble with was don't touch your face, because I thought, how can you not touch your face when you're putting makeup on or putting some cream on your face or something like that? So I just have to make sure I really, really, really do a bit more than a 20-second wash when I've done those things. But, you know, we're going to look back on this and people are going to say, why did I get myself in such a state about it? Because, you know, we've come through. Look how blessed we are. How grateful am I that we live in Australia? We're on an island and you know, so it's a big island, I know, but, you know, we're so blessed. I'm so grateful for where we live and for the people who are looking after us. And as I say, you know, whoever would have thought that the Queensland Police Service would do a Twinkle Twinkle Little Star poem? I wouldn't have. And how that delighted me this morning. It really did.
Gorgeous. Wherever you are in the world, look at what you have rather than what you might have lost temporarily. Make the most of this time. And thank you so much for joining us, Carol-Anne. It's been a delight as usual. I wonder, next time we speak, I wonder how far down that track we will be. It's the unknown at the moment, far more than we've ever thought before. So face it with excitement. Face it, yes, enjoy. Make sure that you spread the love, spread the joy to yourself and to others, and make the most of this unusual time.
Yes, yes. You're part of history. So be kind to yourself, love yourself, and be kind to everybody and everything around you. Because that's what makes the world go round, love and kindness and gratitude.
It does. And we might not be able to physically hug each other at the moment, but we can certainly tell each other that we love each other.
Definitely, definitely. That's so important, so important.
So please reach out. Amongst other things that you can do online, of course, you can listen and watch Angel Heart Radio. There are lots and lots of different shows. So, and the beauty, Carol-Anne, is we can watch when it suits us if we cannot take it in live. So thank you, everyone, for being with us. Stay tuned for lots more on Angel Heart Radio. Thank you, Carol-Anne.
Thank you, Annette. It's been delightful as always. So thank you, everybody, for being here with us. We love you all, and so stay safe, and we'll see you next time.
Yes. Bye for now.